All right, welcome back to another episode of the Relationship Schools podcast. I'm here with my wife, Ellen. Welcome, Ellen.
Thank you.
Yeah. How are we doing navigating homeschooling and just all this stuff we're doing? My gosh.
God. I mean, it's a lot. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
There's no way around that. But we're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, it seems impossible, but every day it's like we've moved some things forward.
Yeah. Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd say as a family, we're navigating the stress overall pretty well.
Yeah, I think so.
The stress of that, just the unknowns, and every day is like, what's going to happen now? And
Right.
how about now? And,
Yeah, not knowing much about the future of our world. But as a foursome, I think our day-to-day is as good as could be.
yeah, oh, totally.
Yeah. We're rising to the occasion.
Yeah, as we do. I want to talk today about, you and I were jamming the other day about incompatibility.
Yes.
And this one comes up a lot for couples.
Yeah. Are we
really
just incompatible?
Yeah. Did I choose the wrong person?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
So we wanted to, address this to you listeners, because we have some important things to say, and there's one very, very important distinction here that we want to drill down into. That I think is going to help you kind of answer this question for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's look at sort of top level, maybe what are some of the complaints people have that we experience about this? Like, how does this question even come up? Like, what's going on in a couple where this question comes up?
Right. I think it comes up when people start to kind of coast out of the honeymoon, where it's like, we're the same, we're that merging sort of like, you're perfect, I'm perfect.
Yeah, you have no issues, I got no issues.
Right. That really kind of nice, blissful phase. And, you start kind of cruising down into more reality, and you start to realize, like, oh, this person, isn't the same, and actually does things really differently, or thinks really differently than I do. And it's like arguments start, or something like that. Yeah.
He shuts down, and then he goes into the garage and works on his projects instead of trying to figure out what happened. And wait, I didn't know this is who he is. And
right, things like that.
I thought we were, I thought we were a team here, and now he just sort of is avoiding me and doesn't want to work through this stuff, the hard stuff. That might be one thing, right?
Sure, yeah. Like, start to feel like, oh, this person doesn't really want to work on things, work on the relationship, or communicate. Like, this person doesn't communicate well. That's another complaint that people often have. Like, our communication we have bad communication.
Yeah.
We need help with communication. Almost every couple comes in wanting help with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to keep talking about other examples too. Like, gosh, I thought you were into health, and now you never go to the gym, and I can't believe you eat that. And gosh, I thought we were kind of on the same page, and now it's starting to look like we're not.
Right, or it seemed like you really like to do all these outdoorsy sports, and like you were really into all the hardcore extreme athletic events that I like to do, and now you don't really want to do that with me anymore. And I thought that's what we did together, and what's the deal? Who are you?
Right. Exactly. Yep.
That happens in Boulder, I think.
For sure. Yeah, so there can be a lot of assumptions based on our courting and our infatuation stage and whatever.
Yeah.
That I thought I knew who you were, and as time goes on, as stress comes in to the system, the truth comes out. What I really care about comes out, or what I don't really care comes out.
Right. Or I was all into that because I was into you, and like, actually I'm not that into that thing.
Now that I've got you,
I'm just gonna go back to like my usual stuff. Or we start to settle back into our patterns, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. So that's I think when people start to wonder, like, am I with the right person? Are we actually compatible? Do we want the same things? All that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the question people should be asking here? If I'm stuck in one of those scenarios or 100 of other scenarios that could be where that question emerges. What's the question really that we need to be asking there?
Well, when we were talking about it, I thought of how the incompatible question, I think, is best applied around, do we want the same kind of relationship? I can't remember how I said it, but it was something like, our differences aren't necessarily what makes us incompatible. It's the kind of relationship we want. So do we want the same kind of relationship? Do we want the same things out of this relationship? What is our relationship about? If a couple can agree on that, I think they can be really different people.
Yeah, agreed.
And have a shared idea and commitment to what their relationship is for and why.
Okay. Yeah, so this is really important to tease out this question from the compatibility question, because what people do is they start to say, well, you like outdoor stuff and I don't like that stuff. And so therefore we're not compatible. Or you value spending time with your family and I value being away from family. And we just we like and prefer different things, and they make that the problem, when what you're saying is, no, let's change the question to, do we even want the same type of relationship?
Yes.
Like a growth-oriented relationship.
Right.
A relationship where when shit hits the fan, we deal.
Right.
A relationship where I have your back and you have mine, and I demonstrate that by learning how to repair after we have conflicts, and I always return. I might be slow, but I always return. Like we start to define the texture and the rules of engagement maybe of our relationship. Do we want that?
Yeah.
Do we want that same thing?
The same things. Yeah. Right. I think that's a more important question. If people don't agree there or don't align there, then that could be a reason to end things.
Absolutely. So that's when maybe we are incompatible.
Right.
So maybe the incompatibility, if it's centered around this question, I think is important.
Yes.
Because this is where a lot of our listeners are not maybe aligned with their partner.
Right, because it's oftentimes people they haven't really thought about that.
Yeah.
They haven't talked about, what is our relationship about? What is it for? Why would we do this difficult challenge of committing to each other for a long time?
Yeah. Why in the hell?
Why would we do this to ourselves? I think that's the more important question, because I've just seen over time and just in our own experience too, so many people can be so different. They have really different characteristics, really different qualities, different values even. But if they agree on what they're there to do for each other and with each other, that all becomes workable.
Yeah,
it's all like, okay,
completely.
then how are we going to work with that? How are we going to be sensitive to each other, respect each other, and care about each other even though we're different here? And keep doing the work to understand who my partner is, why they're that way, and so that I can treat them well, really.
Yeah.
And be treated well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I think it's just, again, we've said this many times in many different ways on the podcast, believe it or not, but we're trying to enter the conversation from a complaint that often gets aired, and we're saying, cool, focus your compatibility on, is the relationship, do we have alignment about what we're doing here together?
Yeah.
Because it can be okay to be misaligned, but you want to name that soon, and then maybe it is good that you part ways. Because so many of you, or enough of you, at least in our Facebook group, are with someone who doesn't want the same thing. And I talk about the 3 types of relationships. I did another podcast many years ago, or a while back, early in the episodes about, some people do want a relationship that's just kind of fun. I just want it to be fun and light, and I don't want to get into stuff that's too deep. I don't want to go to therapy. I don't want to go into the past. I just want to have a good time here. And I often say that's going to be pretty hard to have that type of relationship. You could do
long-term.
Yeah, long-term. You could do great at that short-term.
Yeah.
But some people want that, and they think they can have that long-term, and I say, cool, go find that. Go see if you can have that. Good luck. But can we just honor someone if they're not really aligned?
Right.
And they don't want what you want. So have the hard conversation, I think, is the next step is,
Yeah.
are you willing to have that hard conversation and get very honest? Because it could mean the relationship ends, and some people avoid that relationship because they don't want the relationship to end. They don't want to be alone and like, oh shit, now with kids and a mortgage and all this other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it can get super complicated depending on how long you've been together and how much you have going on together. And it's worth having.
That's so worth it.
It's worth sorting that out.
Ellen, so what about this hang up about people just saying we're so different? And like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I think that's an important part we have to talk about that you brought up.
Yeah, we do. We need to talk about that. So a lot of times people will start to feel like they're incompatible because their differences are emerging. And so then they start to feel like, oh, we're too different. We can't possibly be together.
Yeah.
And what I think that what people could maybe also think about is that our differences make us stronger. Like a more diverse system is a stronger system.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to both be specialized in the exact same things or traits or whatever, skills and capacities. So differences really make for a well-rounded relationship. If you know how to, kind of like if you know how to leverage them, like if you know how to work with them and make them into assets versus threats.
Yeah.
A lot of people get threatened by the differences versus feel interested and curious and how could that serve that way that you're really different than me? How could that serve us? But people aren't usually asking that, although it's there.
Totally. So I'm just curious about an example maybe of differences that could be assets. You know? Like in a couple.
We don't have any.
We're the same. We just do it all the same.
Well, we have a lot of differences. I mean, I think of us, you know, and we're different in so many ways. And I think that, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something concrete here. Well, one thing that comes up a lot in couples, this isn't as true for us, but it's like someone's really more emotional and someone else is more logical.
Yeah.
And that starts to feel like it's a problem.
Right.
Like you're too emotional or you're not emotional enough. You're too rational, you're not rational enough. And people get into a lot of arguments about that, about how to just deal with life, because one person really responds to life from a more emotional place and the other person responds more logical and rational. Concrete, and that can start to feel really like you know, it starts to feel bad if people aren't sensitive to the way that they're different there.
Yeah.
And appreciating that there is really good time and place to respond logically to something.
Totally.
And a really good time and place to respond emotionally, and actually together they're really, really strong.
Yeah.
That's really strong if you have both of those in a system.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking of, as you were talking, a business partnership and how essential those differences are.
Oh, yeah.
In a business partnership where someone is very logical and linear and just like, this is just completely, you know, breaking down the spreadsheets, for example, and the other person's more feeling oriented. And both are really good styles of leadership.
Totally.
And to lead a family, you actually need both.
Yes.
And to be partnerships navigating this crazy life, like it's important to have, those are assets, right?
Totally. They so are. I mean, I was thinking of families too, just like we have two kids who are two really different children, and we're really different people, you and I, and that actually makes for us to be able to meet our kids' needs in all these different ways, because we have all these different skills or tendencies or things we're better at, things where I'm like, can you please help with this? I suck at this. And, you know, like we can help each other out, because so many things are needed in running a family, living a life together over the long term. It's like I have this person with all these other skills that I don't have. It's so awesome.
Totally. Yeah, and I think it's important just to mention also opposites, that we often attract our opposite. We feel the same in the beginning, and that seems to feel so good, and then we start to polarize.
Yeah.
And our differences emerge. And what we're saying is celebrate those differences because they can make you stronger if you learn how to respect and honor them, and you're not trying to get your partner to be like you.
Right.
At the same time, the cool thing about opposites I've found is, let's say one partner's fast and one partner's slow. Neither is better, neither is worse, but the fast partner can teach the slow partner to speed up, and the slow partner can teach the fast partner to slow down.
Yeah, there's
all these cool growth opportunities within our differences as well.
Yeah, we can teach each other how to expand those edges in ourselves, and
I mean, you've taught me so much more about slowing down and patience, for example. That's immensely helpful to me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
God, you've taught me so many things. I don't
like
even know
what?
where to start. Well, I could just use the opposite, like how to just go at a faster pace, put myself out there, do like be on this podcast,
Yeah.
That's not where I would have put myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm glad you receive there.
Totally.
Because I just want what we're offering. It's just so valuable.
Yeah. And to do it with you makes it fun.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay, so just in summary again, it's so important that you ask the question, if you're feeling this incompatibility, that we're really suggesting that you get clear on this question of, are we on the same page about what we want?
In a relationship.
In a long-term partnership, because that you might be incompatible there.
Right.
But celebrate the differences and honor them, respect them.
Yeah, and be interested, get to know them, use it as a way to understand this person who's really different from you, and that keeps it interesting.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So your next step, the action step here today, is to ask yourself that question instead of, are we compatible or not? Just make it specific to, are we aligned and do we want the same type of relationship? And I would just sort of offer you a growth development-oriented relationship.
Yeah.
Because those are the relationships that Ellen and I tend to see succeed over the long haul. People that are aligned there.
Yeah.
Because they're willing to face their fears and their stuff and work through conflict and learn how to listen better. Those are the people that make it long-term. Yeah. So, and then the next thing is have the hard conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go there.
It could be a productive conversation. Could be really.
Yeah, it could be amazing.
Great. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for being with us today, Ellen.
You're welcome.
Hey, everybody. Quick interruption here from me about our weekend workshop. Are you coming? It is coming up fast. relationshipschool.com/connected. Remember, it's virtual now, 100%, so you can sit on your ass and learn about conflict and change your life. So are you up for that? I think it should be fun, intense, invigorating, and so much more. Here's what Troy said about our workshop.
My wife and I have been married a little over 4 years. There was a lot of conflict that just wasn't progressing and getting anywhere. It was kind of the same thing over and over and over again. And it's a strong message. It's time to try something different. Both my wife and I have spent a fair bit of time in other workshops, but what Jason brings to the table is he has very specific tactics, like when you're feeling overwhelmed, do this, or when your partner is getting very agitated because he or she doesn't feel like you're understanding, do this. And so there's these very specific methods to address this and that type of problem. If you have the chance to work with Jason sort of live in a setting like this, man, I would seriously recommend it. When you talk about attachment and you have the island and the wave, or the avoidant and the ambivalent and these sorts of things, that can lead to some very, very, very difficult and seemingly intractable, insoluble types of conflict. And so he's talking about those dynamics, and he has specific solutions. That is unbelievable. I absolutely love that.
Wow. Thanks, Troy. Awesome seeing you at our workshop. And Troy, he's getting that there's so much more to do, and there are specific things we can do under stress, guys. Come check us out, relationshipschool.com/connected, and get in on this now. Hey, thanks so much for listening. Relationship School fans and Smart Couple listeners, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, all right? do us a favor, subscribe, share one of these videos with a friend, all right? We want to help the planet get their act together around relationships, and you are one of them, so thank you.